issues that they'd like to share with the group? Okay. All right, well, let's move on. The second point, Gene, thank you, is begin each relationship with clarity. It was interesting to me that there was something in almost in every report that I got from mentors that talked about both starting and later we're going to get to closing a meeting with a customer and how they did that. And so, Mike, can I ask you to talk about this a little bit?
I've noticed as I've developed over the years that the beginning talk that I give about SCORE invariably leads to how many of us there are at various levels. Because I find clients have no idea what size of an organization they're dealing with. So I start out by telling them how big National is, and then how big we are. And then, invariably we get somebody who goes, yes, but I want to, name something you've never done before in your life. How are you going to help me? And I say, look, it's not just me. I'm just the guy who's going to manage the relationship. We've got 80 some odd additional mentors within Charlotte, and we've got all those folks nationally that we can draw on. And occasionally somebody will go, yeah, but you never do. But I do. I call on you guys all the time. I'll call on anybody in this room who knows more about something than I do, and that's most of you for most things. I've relayed clients to people in Arizona because the person in Arizona knew more than any of us. And I think the client should understand that that's a possibility. They also want to know how long this relationship is for. To which I always answer, it's as long as we can stand each other. At the point in time when you've outgrown my ability to answer your questions, I've got these other folks I can draw on. I'm not going away, but I might not be the question answerer. On the other hand, you guys all know me. There might come a time when you can't put up with me anymore. If you don't want me as a mentor any longer, that's fine. Say so. We'll get another one for you. Well, Juliet and I recently did that with Howard's help. They need to understand that our main job is to make sure they get what they want and or get out of their way. And I think drawing on you guys is the only way we can do that.
One of the things I know that we scored very low on compared to National was our clients feeling they understood what was on our website. And I know, Bill, that's something you do in your initial session. You talk to them about that. Do you want to talk a little bit about how you do that?
Well, yeah, I just try to make them aware that we have a national website with a lot of resources on it, and I will sometimes, very frequently, just show them where they can find that. And for example, the financial projections or template that we use so often, or classes. I just give them an example how you register for a class, how you find a particular business planning or financial template. And don't spend a lot of time on that, but I try to make them aware of the resources there and encourage them to go out and take advantage of that, because there's a whole host of topics that are covered. And picking up on what Mike was saying about the continuing to work with them, I don't quite phrase it, as long as we can stand each other, but I do make a big point out of in the initial meeting saying, we're never going to solve anything in one meeting. It's going to be a long-term relationship, and that's what we're looking for. And my biggest intent at the end of that meeting is to learn enough about them so that we've got a really good rapport and know where we're starting initially, and we set a date for a follow-on meeting. So
one of the things that always surprises me is when we talk about length of relationships, and you tell them, I've got people who've been clients for 5 years.
Yeah.
5 years? Well, yeah, it's an ongoing relationship,
yeah.
Mike, go ahead.
If I could just add something to Bill's comment on the website, Not to be negative, but I'm finding the website increasingly harder to use in terms of finding stuff.
Yeah,
For
I
instance,
agree.
finding
It's
an
different.
email mentor, finding the template that Bill talks about. Maybe I'm missing a shortcut, but it takes me about 5 clicks. Now, if there's a client that really needs some of that stuff, I try to send them a link by email. Find it on the website, copy the link and send it to them so they can go right to it, because I think sometimes people get bogged down and they can't find what we're trying to send them to.
That's a good point. I do send a lot of follow-up links to specific things.
Bill, may I ask you a question?
Yeah,
What you and Mike are talking about, are you talking about both the local as well as the national?
It's all the same model. I mean,
Yeah.
if you want to find an email mentor, you got to go into mentors, and then you've got to click the box for method of communication, and then look for the skills and so on. It used to be email mentoring was a whole separate section, and the people you found there were all doing email mentoring. Now, when you go in to find a mentor, you get to see everybody who's on there.
it's a different format now, and I think we're all kind of trying to get used to a totally different organization on that website. And sometimes
sure,
it's
yeah.
easier just to do a search on business planning template or something.
I'm not sure National has it down yet either. I went in the other day, and there's a link in reports in core. Show me all the email mentors for my chapter. According to it, I'm the only one. Well, I don't believe that.
Yeah.
There are others, I know.
What are there other things that any of you do as you kick off a meeting with a new client that you found helpful, that you get good feedback from clients on? Go ahead.
I think one of the most difficult things is the weeding out process. When you have a client that has no idea that's come in here and they're just fishing for information. And I'm not sure the best way, I've tried a lot of different tactics to, get them into simple steps or whatever.
Yeah.
They're expecting answers right off the bat, and they haven't even thought through the process of what they need to do.
Mm-hmm.
I know we're working towards that, but we need to get better at that so that when we sit down with somebody, we can be focused on what questions, we're there to answer for.
Yeah. I know the one thing I do that somewhat relates to that is explain what a mentor is. That a mentor is not a consultant.
Right.
That we're not here to do things for you. We're here to help you and empower you to do things. And I think people, I get a lot of reaction to that when I make it that clear. Because I think some people do come in and expect we're going to do something, we're going to do their financial plan, or we're going to write their strategy paper or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think allowing them right off the top to understand that we're here to help them get better, help them learn more, help them grow is important. Jim?
I get there by asking them, what are your expectations of me and us?
Yeah.
You just let them do that, and then you can really help manage those expectations.
That's
I
right.
think that the clarity of understanding what we should expect from them is also equally as important. Because all too often, we expect them to do the work. And I would suspect that they think, in many cases, and the ones I've dealt with, they expect us to do the work. And so creating those boundaries is also a critical.
Yeah. HR?
How do you handle it when the clients are coming and they think that we can give them money? On
No.
magic source for either nonprofits or for-profits?
Go ahead.
Using my usual inimitable way, I just point out to them that, neither the SBA nor SCORE actually give out money. All the SBA does is guarantee them. If they want money, they're going to have to go to a lender. And the lender's going to have to turn them down, at least partially, if they want an SBA guarantee. And I don't see anything wrong with being brutally honest about, we don't have money for you. That's not what we're for. We've never been for that. But by the same token, I think some of the people that come in willy-nilly, if you'll let me use that phrase, I think our intake process weeds out a whole lot of those folks that we used to get coming in and taking up mentor office time. I don't think we get as many any longer.
I do think the SBA issue is a big issue. People don't understand what the SBA does. They think the SBA gives out money. And I've had that a lot as well.
I'm picking up on that same topic. work with a lot of nonprofits, and typically that's the last thing they think is going to be an issue, is they somehow think they're going to get government grants, money's going to fall out of the sky or
Yeah.
something. They come in with a wonderful passion to do something good, which I like and encourage in them, but they need to be taught, led along what's reality here. And one of the most important things you got to think about up front is, where are you going to find those folks that share your passion to the degree that you do, that are willing to give money to support you.
Yeah.
And that's where most of them fall by the wayside.
I find the same thing with my clients that come in that are looking to be for-profit. They believe that there's there's a million angel investors that just cannot wait to write checks, and all we got to do is put together a few things, and the money's going to be right there. So I will spend some time with them explaining that if money were easy to get and businesses were easy to start, we would all have done that already, and that they really need to be looking at the fact that it may be 3, 4, or 5 years from now before they're able to do it, but this is the beginning of the process to understand what they need to save, what they need to plan, and what they need to research.
Yeah, sure.
Do you think there could be something on our website that would clarify the funding aspect that they're looking for, so that we're not saying different things? In other words, a clear, concise message as to these are the steps to get your funding. Clarifying that the SBA doesn't do that. Clarifying that we're not the money source, that you have to have, somewhat of a decent credit to get funds. But something standardized, so we're all not giving different messages to the client.
I think that's something we could certainly talk about and look at. How many of you think that your clients, when they come in off the street, have actually gone to the website and spent time trying to understand what SCORE does?
No.
So,
A few
Some
have.
do, some
Not a
do.
lot.
Doesn't mean that we shouldn't have the right information on there, but I'm always disappointed that they come in with grave misconceptions sometimes of what SCORE does.
Well, that's what I'm saying, if we had something on the website,
Yeah.
and that's set on the intake, that would be a good place to send them.
Sure.
Say, here's some functional things to think about if you're looking for money.
Sure.
The other thing is, they're asking for money, they have really no clue that there's security that's required to raise the money. And how did they even go ahead and get that security?
Yeah. Don?
I think what I found is the better clients, what I call the ones that you have the feeling that they understand, they've gone to the website. It's the walk-ins, it's as we talk with these two folks here, here's the type of clients we get.
Yeah.
And so once you talk to those clients, you know exactly where they fit in. You got your A's, you got your B's, you got your C's.
Like everything else.
Like
It's a normal curve, like everything else. Bill?
Bob, one thing, and I'm not sure who created the email that goes out. When we set up an appointment, an email goes out to the appointee or the person coming in. Would it be appropriate in that email to put in expectations? This is what we anticipate will occur in the meeting. We do not give out, put some of these disclaimers in there so that that's out there up front. As soon as you make the appointment, and that might be something to address wherever.
certainly doable.
Yeah.
That's in a minute, I'll let that in Nancy's hands.
Yeah, I think that's a good.
I think that's a good idea.
No.
Well,
You can write the letter, though, Nancy.
it addresses the comment you had, but does it in a way that they're definitely gonna see,
Right.
even though it's not on
You have to
the,
be careful because it could discourage you.
well,
Yeah, that's-
it would have to be worded the right way.
On the other hand, some probably need to be a little discouraged until they think through the process further.
Yeah.
I mean, how much are we wasting our time, I don't like the word waste, but detracting from our time and theirs, because they've not thought through the process. And
Yeah.
we sit there for an hour trying to get them to understand.
Yeah.
And it's more that their
Okay.
expectations are over here, and then
Reality.
they're disappointed when they leave.
Exactly right. I would agree
And
with
we're
you.
not happy.
I think the tenor of this conversation really points out that trying to be upfront and direct and making a good point is a best practice. Make sure right up front you get the client in the right frame of mind. We should probably move on. Go ahead, Dick.
It'd be helpful if you put in that letter, that introductory thing about our website.
Yeah, that's
Give
true.
a little homework and say, we expect you to look at our website, or how do you work that?
Yeah,
Because most of them I don't look at.
yeah.
They have
So-
no clue what's in there.
I'll take that on. Go ahead.
That would be a good idea to put the link to the site.
Right in there.
You can just click on it and see it.
Yeah.
I don't think we should put anything discouraging in that email. I've had
I
very few
agree.
clients come in expecting we are gonna give them money or that we don't know the source of money. I don't think that's that big an issue. People are better prepared than that, but I like the idea of linking
Yeah,
the website.
I think that's great. All right, so I think this conversation really is
Just
valid.
real quick, I think the idea of saying homework, no, you've got some homework to do before you get here.
Yep.
It's going to benefit you and the mentor.
Without a doubt.
Do some prep.
Okay, why don't we move on, Gene, to the third piece?